Y'all, welcome to episode 1 of Art, Mind, and Soul. My name is Regine, and I am here with my good sis,
Taia.
Taia, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited. I am just excited to see where this series goes, and I'm glad that you are, the first Black creative on my. I know, yeah. It runs deep. The love is there. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Taia Pollock. I am a young 20-something pursuing arts, designs, and really just figuring things out. Music as well, eventually. And I'm originally from Virginia, and I'm living in New York currently for school and just, the rest of my foreseeable life. And yeah, just chilling, living, existing, and things.
Okay.
Dear Regine at BCU, so that is how we know each other.
College, that was a time, but we made it through, and I just finished school, and you're finishing school in like a year, right? So
who would have thought we would have
not Regine, absolutely not. That was but we're doing it. So out here just
killing the game,
killing the game. Okay. So tell me, when did you first fall in love with art? This is kind of a little like brown sugar intro, but
so I think that I've only ever really done like artsy things, from like just crafts as a kid and like being forced to take up a role in the church, i.e. being in the choir. All of those things kind of just slowly translated into my interests over time. So like going on to do AP art in high school, or take up sketching and painting, and then later going on to school for design and stuff. It all just kind of like was consistent. And even though it doesn't really feel like that all the time, like I sometimes feel like what I'm doing now, it just kind of came out of nowhere. That's not really true at all. And so I think I've always just been doing art. Like I've always been doing this thing that felt natural to me. I've never really steered far outside of it. So it's kind of just always been a part.
Yeah. Ooh, cool. So what would you say was like the first thing that you ever created? You remember?
Human being, I remember this obscenely crazy drawing. Not obscene in a bad way, but it was like a portrait of myself, but it looked like a demented potato. And I remember it so vividly in my mind. Okay. And I also remember drawing my grandmother with like, I drew her as a princess with like orange hair. She doesn't look like that. But those are the first things I remember creating. And then I was really big into like manga as a child. And so that kind of inspired me to learn how to like draw and to want to copy all the cartoon characters from the book. And then like, I remember I was drawing like American Dragon Jake Long. I was trying to practice drawing his little head.
That was it, yep.
And so it kind of all like, was me trying to replicate images from the things I liked. And over time, I just learned how to like develop that skill. And now it's something that I have.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember like what age that was, or?
I was super young. I used to go to the library a lot when I was in elementary school, and that's kind of when things started to like start, like 5th grade, 4th grade-ish. And as I got older, things just developed, and by the time I was in high school, I was taking art in school, so we would have projects and things that would inspire me to think more deeply about like the things that I was making.
Okay, cool, nice. All right, I'm learning stuff. Okay, what about like, why would you say that you create? Like, why do you create if you had to?
It feels like I don't really have boundaries there, and to do something that feels natural or that feels comfortable. I think I've always just, how should I say this? That I know how to do, it's really, the basis of everything that I know how to contribute to, like, in whatever industry. Like, if, let's say we're talking about, you know, design or painting or illustration or music, all of those things have to do with like my idea or my ability coming forth to make something else. And like just making things in general is just something that I aspire to do or think about doing. And I think it's just, like I said before, it's just always been that way. And I can't even really think of a time where it wasn't that way. So I guess it's just natural. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like second nature to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think though, like, I think that we all have like certain gifts and things that come to us, but I also think that there are certain levels of dedication and time that hone those skills, and I think that those things kind of come separately. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that I had like the most dedicated, most like focused drive throughout the years, and maybe that has affected where I am today. Not that that's bad or anything, but I think it goes without saying that like those things felt natural to me, but like how far I've gone in those aspects, I think relate to like, you know, how deeply into it I was really feeling, and or maybe like how much I was able to dive into those things for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So then I guess that leads me to my next question of like, how much of your personality or what pieces of your personality do you feel like show up in your work or in the things that you create?
I always just like to look at things that are interesting or pretty or bold or like just very blatantly artistic. But I think the parts of me that show are like the fact that I identify as a woman, the fact that I identify as a Black woman, and like that often comes up in my work. Like I'm always trying to draw like brown people usually, and or people that just don't like are not defined by anything, just like this amalgamation of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to just explore with what I'm creating, and I think that's also an aspect, just like not having boundaries, like to just explore and just to make whatever and see what comes out of that. So I think just a spirit of randomness, a spirit of exploration, but also like trying to include the aspects of like Blackness and of my own interests and identities. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have like a favorite medium or, you know, favorite material?
I've always felt best with like pen and paper, but I'm definitely, well, not pen, like pencils and like paper, but I'm definitely learning to like get into other things. Being in college has exposed me to a lot of digital mediums, so I'm definitely trying to like up my digital illustrations, and I would also like to get back more into like traditional things like painting, because being in college, like I haven't really had to paint at all, so that's something that's kind of like fallen to the wayside that I'd like to get back into. And more recently with music, I don't know anything and I'm really trying to learn, so I've been watching like a bunch of YouTube videos and like trying to figure out how to get like the sounds out, and that's just like a completely different ball field, because it's like you're creating sonically. So in a visual sense, definitely really traditional, but I do like to do like graphic design and things. But yeah.
Okay, nice. Do you feel like art affects your mental health in any way, or like vice versa?
I think that art takes me out of my head. It allows me to be present, because, you know, there's not a lot of like, you're not really thinking about yourself. There's not really a lot of ego in art. I don't think so. Not for what I'm making, because it's just never been a part of that process. You know, it's kind of just about like what's coming out and what it wants to do. And I have like a hand in like guiding it, but I think it's more about letting my mind rest than like trying to really work it and force something to come out.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, I think it's good for my mental health to have that release.
Okay. And do you find that you create more if you're like not doing well mentally or emotionally?
I think that when I'm not doing well, I'm usually not that focused on creating when I'm not doing well mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes though, when I'm in that space, I will just like draw something and get the emotions out. And sometimes it may not really look like anything, but it will be helpful for me to just have made it or to just have created something. And when I'm feeling good, you know, I feel more open to try things.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing things is that's another ballpark. But the difference between like my up days and my down days, I think, is the willingness to try, and or like the bare necessity of having to do something just to get your mind off of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And as you know, like Melanated Misunderstood is like dedicated to mental health and healing and just a lot of things having to do with the mind in the Black community. Can you tell us a little bit about like your mental health journey, just generally like what it's been like for you? Yeah.
So I didn't think that deeply about what was going on in my head for a long time. And it wasn't until I got on Tumblr.com that I started to see more people that I didn't know at all talk more about the thoughts that they were having. And then I started to understand that these things are like chemical, and that not everything is just me in my head. And so over time, I started to identify things that were happening in my own body. And it took a long time for me to have a very short stint of therapy through undergrad. And it definitely helped me to put a lot of words to the things I was feeling. And about halfway through my lived life, my grandmother started to go to school for psychology, and that also opened me up to like another like lens of what this thing is. Yeah, and now I'm definitely to a point where I more so understand what's going on. Like, I've never been officially diagnosed, and I think that was because I had a lot of my own apprehensions and my own like tensions within myself, like of going and like really getting to a therapist, and especially trying to find a Black woman therapist in general is not the easiest thing to do. But I think because there are so many resources online of people that are like talking about things on social media, it's been a really big help for me to at least gain advice and some type of insight for things in a really accessible way. Like, it's literally on Instagram, but people are talking about childhood trauma and, you know, anxieties and spiritual practices and meditation and just a bunch of like insightful things and really important things that you may have never thought about before. It's just all on Instagram. So yeah. Was an answer.
yeah, it was. So would you say you feel like the place that you're in like right now, despite everything else that's going on around us, like do you feel like you're in a good place right now mentally?
Honestly, yes. I've always been like, just like, not to get deep, but I've always been most comfortable by myself. I think that's just like because of how I was raised and all of that stuff. And well, not how I was raised, but just how I grew up. And being in quarantine has allowed my anxieties to really settle, not just like, not about the world, because the world is going through so much, and that is definitely anxiety inducing, but like the fact that I don't have to go outside every day and like do the whole rigmarole, and I just got more time to think about me and to think about my environment and think about the things that I want for myself, since I'm now like here and just have to live with me. I've been able to be more relaxed and less stressed because I'm literally just here, not even wearing real clothes for most of the week, and just kind of being forced to invest in myself and invest in this time. So it's been pretty great for me, honestly. I feel like I've done like a shift through this time, and it's not coming at a great cost, but it's like a weird offset.
Yeah.
I think that I have thought about like, what will my like mind look like when I have to start going back out in the world again? Like, will I be as conscious of what other people may think of me, like I usually am? Like, I'll just be thinking about and worried about random things throughout the day, and I'm like, will all of that come back? And I think the positive change that I've incurred during quarantine is being able to say like, well, if it does, you just got to work through it. Because like before, I would have been like, I don't want to go outside. And now I'm like, I still kind of don't want to, but like if I do, like I do. And that is something I'll just like learn to live with and just be better at dealing with.
Okay. What would you say it means to you to be like a Black artist or a Black creative, if that's what you consider yourself to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's just to exist and to create as you are, you know. You don't even, like, your art doesn't have to speak to exactly what your identity is. I honestly just feel like Black artists, as long as they're Black and making art, like that's enough to be recognized as that. So there's so much history as well. There's so many people that have come before us, and I feel like we're just always being challenged to be ourselves, like those people who came before us. And you know, those people, there's just so many artists, I'm not even gonna try to name them, but like I feel like they made a space as Black artists by doing what they were good at and by doing what, you know, they wanted to do, and letting their ideas just exist. And I think that's kind of like our plight, just as Black people, as Black artists, to just, you know, keep going and just let whatever is in your head just come to fruition.
Yeah. Okay, this is deep stuff, so I'm just like soaking it.
I hope so. I feel like I'm just rambling into
No. No, this is really good. Yeah, so I guess we're nearing the end of this. So again, thank you for joining us today for episode 1. So I'm excited. But if there was one thing that you could tell young Taia about just life in general, and relating to art, relating to mental health, relating to really anything, like what would you tell her?
To talk to somebody. You know, I feel like so much of my existence so far has been so reserved, and a lot of the things that I've ever wanted to do, I think like came to my brain and stopped in my brain because I never wanted to express them. And so I would just tell her to maybe have more confidence and to, you know, just to exist a little bit louder. And yeah, because I definitely think that I've restricted myself in a lot of ways, and I didn't know that I was doing it. And yeah, I would do that. I would tell her to just like step out a little more.
Yeah. Oh, young Taia.
Yeah. She's so cool though.
Yeah.
She's not here, so you know, she's cool.
I believe it. I wish I could have seen you. Well, I've seen pictures, but I wish I could have like known you as a child, adolescent. I think that would have been so
good. I think honestly, when I was a child, I was probably the most myself, you know, and then we grow and we go into like middle school and high school, and we start to understand how people perceive us, and that really starts to like close us in.
Yeah.
And if I could like go back and like counsel myself through that, I would, but I mean, I can't. So yeah. Just grateful for the fact that I'm still here and that I can change now and that I can be more open now.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, before we go, I know that I said that was the last thing, but I would like to know, and I'd like for the people to know, what is your self-care routine, or what has your self-care routine been like during quarantine and after all of this started?
So I found that my self-care routine is routine. You know, like it is not me going to sleep at any hour of the day, taking naps throughout the day. It is not me eating whatever, ordering whatever in the name of treat myself. It's, you know, trying to go to bed at the same time, trying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trying to eat breakfast, trying to have a cup of tea, trying to, you know, have my water throughout the day, even just taking a shower at the same time every day it does a lot for my brain, and it does a lot for, you know, my body to have emotion to go through. And I realized that when I didn't have that routine, that's when I felt the worst. You know, like when I was just kind of like, oh my God, what do I do? And it's just like, well, first get up out of bed and start the day. you know?
Yeah.
Like that has been the biggest help for me so far. Just like, if you don't give your body anything to look forward to, it won't. And it'll just continue to just be chilling out, and to a point where it doesn't really benefit you. Mm-hmm. So I just had to realize like that I was kind of getting in the way of myself by allowing myself to be a potato for 7 days a week. So I just had to switch it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for coming on. I'm super excited to just get this started, and I'm grateful for you for a lot of things, of course, but definitely just for your support and everything.
Yeah.
And where can people find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram at TAIANP. If anybody would like to give me the username Taia without the NP, I will pay for it.
Yes, I will put it on it. Yes.
And I don't really use Twitter right now, but hopefully I will in the future. And that one is Taia NP, but there's an underscore in the beginning, so it's just underscore Taia NP.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to whatever you have coming out next. I'm excited about it. I already know it'll be amazing. So you do. Yeah. We're waiting in anticipation. So. Okay. Well, thank you. I keep saying thank you. I'm super grateful. And yeah. Thanks all for watching.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
Art Mindful, episode 1. Yeah.
Episode 1. Yes. Okay. Bye, y'all.